Welcome into another Cash or Trash. Today I'm reviewing a disc that I'm super excited to review for you guys, which is the first disc in the Simon line, the Time-Lapse.
Welcome to Cash or Trash. In this series, Isaac gives his review of a disc and tells you whether he thinks it's cash or trash. Let's get into it.
Before I get into the review, I want to give a huge shout out to Creed Disc Golf. They allowed us to get our hands on this disc. I'll have a link to all their stuff down in the description below. And if you're ever in the Owensboro, Kentucky area, be sure to swing by their shop. They have a ton of different discs there. Now let's get into the review. All right, I'm going to start off with the flight numbers, which are 12, 5, -1, 3. And just for comparison, the flight numbers of the Destroyer are 12, 5, -1, 3 also. So it has the same flight numbers as a Destroyer. So I'm curious to see just how much different it flies than a Destroyer. By what I've seen, it looks like it might be a little bit more overstable. Going into the feel of the disc, as you can see, it has a slight dome, nothing major. It feels very comfortable in the hand, feels like a 12 speed. If you felt a Destroyer or any other 12 speed, it feels very similar in the hand, which I find is very comfortable. Also, I didn't talk about it, but look at these colors. That is sick with the green inside and there's a little bit of a blue swirl on the outside. First throw with the new Time-Lapse and the first disc in the Simon line. And my first throw was straight into the ground. All right, also just an FYI, my distance is about 380 to 400 average for max distance. So that gives you guys a reference on how this flies for me. And if you have more power than that, it might be a little bit more understable, or less power, it might be a little bit more understable. Okay, that first throw was terrible. So here's a redemption throw. Still threw it low, but I still threw it low there, but you could see the overstability on it. Pretty overstable for my arm. We just saw me throw it twice on a little bit of hyzer, and we saw the overstability of it there, even though I didn't throw it very high off the ground. So this time, I'm going to actually give it height, and I'm going to throw it flat, maybe even on a little bit of anhyzer, so we can see the overstability of this disc. Okay, all right, on that one, it was a little bit better to throw. I threw it on actually some height and a little bit of hyzer, so you could see how hard it finished left. It held straight for a little bit and then finished, which is about what I would expect with a Destroyer type disc. So I'm going to actually throw it on anhyzer this time. Okay. I actually threw it on anhyzer there. We saw how fast it fought out. I still threw it pretty low, but we still saw it fade at the end. This disc is pretty overstable for my arm. I'm gonna throw it one more time on backhand, and this time on a ton of anhyzer. And I'm actually gonna give it height so you guys can see the full flight of it. And then I'm gonna throw it on forehands. I'm really excited to throw this thing on forehand because I love throwing my Destroyer on forehands. There we go. I actually gave it height that time, and I actually gave it some anhyzer. It fought out pretty quick. So far, I would say that, what I said at the beginning, that I think I've heard that it's a little bit more overstable than a Destroyer, and I think I would agree with that. Obviously, it kind of depends on the run of the disc of a Destroyer and the weight of it and all that stuff. But as of right now, I would say that I think it is a little bit more overstable than Destroyer, even though they have the same flight numbers. I'm gonna throw it on forehand now. On this one, I'm gonna put some anhyzer on it. Pretty high. All right, that forehand was pretty high and nose up, but it pretty much flew how I thought it would. It fought out pretty quick. There we go. I am seeing that this disc likes to skip, which is really good. On that forehand there, it honestly didn't fight out of the anhyzer as fast as I thought it would. I put quite a bit on it. We saw it on forehand and we saw it on backhand. My final review of the Time-Lapse, which is the first disc in the Simon line, is cash. Like I pointed out earlier, this and a Destroyer have the same flight numbers. I would say that this has maybe a little bit more overstable than a Destroyer, but it feels really good on forehand and it flew really good on forehand. And on backhand, it's kind of straight to overstable, which is always really nice. And I did see quite a bit of skips from it today, so I got nothing to complain about this disc. I want to give another huge shout out to Creed Disc Golf for allowing us to get our hands on this disc. I'll have a link to all their stuff in the description. Go check them out. And thanks for watching.